Hey guys, and welcome back to the show. I am your host, Megan Hardy, and I'm the founder of Fitness Uncharted, which is my fitness and nutrition coaching company that I designed to help women build muscle, lose fat, and improve your metabolism and find ultimate food freedom in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. And today we are talking about reverse dieting or cutting through the holidays. So this is going to be very much a holiday focused episode. And I actually am inserting this into my podcast episode schedule because I got this as a request from someone who messaged me on Facebook. And I will actually read through that message with you guys here in just a second. But normally I'm recording podcast episodes at least like 6 or 7 weeks out or scheduling them like 6 or 7 weeks out. So that's why sometimes you'll hear me say stuff that's like not current. And you're like, if you followed me on social media, you might be like, wait a minute, that timeline doesn't add up. That's because I'm recording for a few weeks out. But anyway, I'm actually inserting this one because the holidays are upon us, you guys. They are here, they are coming. Thanksgiving is coming up, Christmas right behind it, New Year's right behind that. So, I want to share with you guys how to handle whether you are trying to reverse diet through the holidays, or maybe you are wanting to go into a fat loss phase or a cut through the holidays, how to handle that, and also how to minimize weight gain during the holidays as well, while enjoying yourself, right? Like the food freedom side of things too, and fully enjoying yourself during the holidays. With that being said, before we jump in, a little story time for you guys, as I normally do. I actually just recently, we have our new puppy Rolo, and I recently tried giving him a couple licks of a lime. I was like, let's see if he likes lime because Oreo is not a fan. My other dog is not a fan of lemon or lime. Like she like is repulsed by it with I think the acidity, right? And so I was like, let me see if Rolo likes it. He is my hungry hippo. That's what I call him, is my hungry hippo. He is so food driven. I'm not used to it because Oreo, our 2.5-year-old dog, is like not food driven at all. Like she is so stubborn because she doesn't care about food as much. He is like, I will do anything you ask if you give me food. And so I was like, let's see what he thinks. Well, it seemed like Homeboy really loved the lime. He was just licking away. I was like, man, do you just need some salt with this? Like some tequila and some salt to go with your lime, buddy? Because he was really enjoying it, right? And I posted it on my story on Instagram and Facebook. And then sure enough, I get a message from someone that says, I think limes are toxic for dogs. Like, I'm not sure, but I think so. And I was like, oh my gosh, they would be. Of course they are. Of course, because I'm over here feeding my dog a lime. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I go look it up. And sure enough, it's like, do not give your dog lime. It's like the peel and the rind and all that can be toxic, like the essential oils and stuff in it can be toxic for their gastrointestinal tract. It can also cause like neurological issues. I was like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? Meanwhile, that was yesterday. Today, he's fine. He's still being his normal little self. So I think he's okay, like just from having a few licks. I don't think that made or broke him. But anyway, needless to say, the moral of the story is before you ever feed your dogs anything that is not dog food, look it up on Google. I have now learned my lesson with this with multiple things. Many other situations with Oreo with my first dog where I was like, dang, like I should have looked that up before I did it because, it's like the same thing as a baby. Just Google everything first and see what comes up. So anyway, don't feed your dog lime. I don't know about lemon, but probably the same thing there too. So let's jump on in. So the message that I got and hence the reason for this episode was a message from Chrissy. Shout out to Chrissy. This episode is for you. She said, hey, Megan, I have a question for you, and I'm curious if you might do a podcast episode on eating during the holidays while avoiding weight gain, specifically if you are reverse dieting. So, my situation is that I am building my calories back up from 1,200 calories to somewhere around 2,000. I am currently at 1,600 and have been increasing by 50 calories a week, and I'm still losing weight. So she is increasing calories. She's up from 1,200 to 1,600 calories, and she's still losing weight, which tells us she's still in a deficit and her body is still recognizing that this is a deficit for her. She said, however, I have a Thanksgiving event one day each week over the next 3 weeks. Knowing I will be eating more calories at the events, what should I do with my calories the other days of the week? Do I continue building up in my calories, or do I factor in the calories I'm expecting to eat at Thanksgiving events and reduce the amount of calories I'm eating the other 6 days of the week to help compensate for the increase on that one day? So she has one event each week for the next 3 weeks. And she's like, should I lower my calories the other 6 days to compensate since I know I'll be having much higher calorie days because of the events? Great question, Chrissy. So I voice messaged her back because I didn't want her to have to wait for this episode, but I'm going to go into more detail here. And also, I figure when one person has a question, most everyone else has the same question too, or a lot of people. So that's why when I'm talking to you guys on social media and stuff, I'm like, I'm going to throw it in a podcast episode because I bet at least 10 other people have the same question. So let's talk about it. Let's first talk about if you are reverse dieting during the holidays. Then we're going to touch on cutting during the holidays. And then we're going to touch on just trying to maintain weight and minimize weight gain during the holidays. Okay. So there's three ways that she can handle this. If she is reverse dieting, which she is, she can decrease calories a little bit the other days and do somewhat of calorie cycling with the higher calorie event days. So, like she mentioned, she could kind of compensate where maybe she reduces calories back down to like 1500 because she's built her calories up to 1600. Maybe she reduces back down just a little bit, knowing that she'll have that one probably well over her calorie day with the event. She could do that, and that's calorie cycling where you are looking at the week as a total and going, okay, how many calories am I trying to hit for the week? And then you can kind of split up your calories to better fit your social events and social calendar and things like that. Calorie cycling can be really helpful in these kind of situations. So she could totally do that. She could also keep calories the same and enjoy the holiday events. Like those 3 days and 3 weeks won't make or break her during a reverse. Now, if it's multiple days each week, that's a different story. If she was having like 2 or 3 days each week for the next 3 or 4 or 5 weeks for the holidays, that is going to make a much bigger impact. But having like 3 event days, like basically one day a week over the next 3 weeks, is not really going to make or break her if she's being very consistent and compliant with the other days of the week. So she could very well just, okay, hang out at her current calorie intake where she's at in the reverse diet. So she's at 1600. She could really just hang out here, enjoy herself on each of those event days, and it probably won't do much difference. Like she'll be fine. And then once the events are over, then she could resume increasing calories after the holiday events. So then, okay, the last event day has happened. She's been hanging out at 1600 calories with the exception of those event days the last 3 weeks. And then after that, maybe she increases up to 1700 calories, continuing with her reverse diet. That's another option. Or she could continue to do a slow climb with calories and enjoy the holiday events. If she's still losing weight during the reverse diet, which she says she's increasing about 50 calories a week and still losing weight, then she is still in a deficit. And the extra calories from those 3 days isn't going to create any significant amount of fat gain. So if her body is still recognizing like, hey, this is still a deficit, even though yes, you are reverse dieting, yes, you are increasing calories, having a couple days over a few weeks of, extra high calorie intake is not going to cause her body to like hold on to and put on a ton of weight. This is where after those event days, if she goes and weighs herself, she might notice like, oh my gosh, the scale is up 4 or 5 pounds or 3 pounds. That's not fat gain. That is most likely water retention. That's also just more food in her stomach. I will say, like, my husband and I recently went on a date night and we got 2 appetizers plus our entrees. And there was plus the bread and oil. And like, I had orzo and 7 ounces of filet mignon with crab and meatballs. And I mean, it was a lot of food. And I had a food baby that night afterwards. And the next day, I was still a little heavier. I'm like, literally, because I have more food in my stomach. So there's that. And then also just the water retention that happens with having, more inflammatory foods, more carbs. So your body's going to hold on to more water. So she might notice the scale fluctuate, but that does not mean that she is gaining fat from those 3 event days. So with her, since she is noticing still, weight loss while she's been increasing, she could continue to climb slowly even during these weeks that she has the events. So she could still keep increasing 50 calories a week. Like, especially at that pace, you guys, 50 calories a week, that is nothing. Like, that is like the tiniest, like, that's like not even, I don't know what, let's compare it to something. That's like not even half a serving of like nuts if you were to serve out some almonds or something. That's not even like, not even, I don't know, barely a third. That's like a third of an apple. So like that's nothing. Like, so if she's still slowly increasing those other days plus has the event days, it's not going to hugely impact her in any negative way. So, with that being said, she has those 3 different directions she could go. This is something we help our clients with of figuring out, okay, how do we want to approach the holidays? And there is no exact rule. There is not a rule. There's different ways we could approach it, and it just depends on the person. So that is if you are going to reverse diet during the holidays. And really quick, I want to take a quick break to announce this week's giveaway winner and to tell you about some of the supplements I am loving from Legion Athletics. I really love that Legion's products are 100% natural. They have no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or dyes, and they are third party tested, and they don't use proprietary blends. And if you don't know what that means, basically what happens is supplement companies will hide how much of each ingredient is in their formula by calling it a quote unquote proprietary blend. And you do not want this. You do not want proprietary blends because you don't know if they are using the effective dose of each ingredient. With that being said, Legion shows you exactly how much of each ingredient is in their supplements, whether that's their creatine, their pre workout, fish oil, multivitamins. But my personal favorite and current obsession is Legion's protein powders. The flavors are on point, you guys. So creamy, so delicious. I have some, protein powder snobs in my family who just don't like any protein powders, and they have tried some of these flavors and love them. And right now, we are picking a winner each week to receive one free product from Legion. And all you need to do to enter the giveaway is subscribe to the Muscle Makeover and leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you win, you get to pick from any of Legion's supplements. And also, for being a listener of the Muscle Makeover, you can get 20% off your first order and cash back on all future orders if you use the code TMM, as in the Muscle Makeover. The link is in the show notes if you want to give Legion a try. And this week's winner is Allie6. Woohoo! Congrats, Allie. Allie said, I love TMM. Megan is so real and fun to listen to. It's like listening to your BFF if your BFF was a fitness genius. I laughed when I read that. I also laugh at this next part too. She said, I liked the sculpted abs episode. Ugh, I knew abs are made in the kitchen. I've just been lazy about it. This one inspired me to get going. Thanks for the review, Allie. And also thank you for your honesty. I think that's a lot of us. We know abs are made in the kitchen, but like we get lazy, right? And she is referring to episode 74, which is my top 4 tips for sculpted abs. So if you missed that episode and you want sculpted abs, go give it a listen. And Allie, please email me at megan@fitnessuncharted.com to claim your prize. And without further ado, let's keep it rolling and get back to the show. So now, should you cut during the holidays? Should you cut or not? For most people, I would say no. The goal is to really maintain weight during the holidays. That right there is a win. If you maintain during the holidays, that is a win. There are studies that show that the majority of people gain 5 to 10 pounds over the holiday season. And that compounds, you guys. If every holiday season you're gaining 5 or 10 pounds, that's pretty rough. I will say, again, a large portion of that for some people might be more water retention and inflammation. We're having a lot more carbs, a lot more sugary foods, a lot more just higher inflammatory foods, things like that, right? You may not actually be putting on 5 to 10 pounds of fat, but it is still very disheartening to come through the holidays and be 10 pounds heavier, right? So if we just maintain during the holidays, that is a win right there. And this is where I hear a lot of people like wanting to wait until the holidays are done to start their fitness journey. And I'm like, no, because you're actually setting yourself back. If you start your fitness journey during the holidays and at least maintain, you're already ahead of where you would be otherwise, right? So, with that being said, the goal is really to maintain. And if you can't maintain 90% or more consistency during your cut, then don't even try a cut. Like what you'll do is if you are trying to cut during the holidays and you're not able to stay consistent, you'll create diet fatigue. Like you're literally just get tired of dieting and then you'll be stressed out for no reason and you won't be successful during your cut and you won't be successful at being present with your friends and family because you'll be stressing about your cut that you're not being consistent and compliant with. So it really ruins you from both angles. You're not seeing the body composition changes that you want because you're not being consistent enough. And then you have the mental diet fatigue because you quote unquote should be cutting right now, or you told yourself you were going to, and you're not, or you're not being consistent enough. So then you're like not really present, or you're feeling shame or guilt and not being present with family. And that is not cool, you guys. So if you don't feel like you can be 90% compliant and consistent in your cut during the holidays, don't do it. Use the holidays as a great time to enjoy some extra calories, like whether that's in your reverse diet, like we talked about, or maybe you're just at your maintenance. So maybe you're just hanging out. Maybe you have come from a fat loss phase or a cut, or maybe you just haven't approached your fat loss phase yet. Hang out at your maintenance and enjoy. Think of this as the preparation for your next cut. Don't go, balls to the walls with reckless abandon. That's where unnecessary fat gain and weight gain happens. But enjoy yourself in moderation and let your metabolism benefit from the higher calories. So, as you guys have heard from prior episodes, I've done a whole episode on reverse dieting in particular. Our bodies cannot stay in a deficit forever. That's where we hit plateaus. Our metabolism will downregulate and we're not going to be able to maintain our results. And if you missed episode 54 on metabolism, definitely go back and give that one a listen. But enjoy these extra calories, like hang out at maintenance and let your metabolism really get primed from that. Use this time to push it in your workouts, like push the weight, focus on building more muscle, and get your body primed for your next fat loss phase when you can really put your head down and do it. And that's what I always say before any fat loss phase or cut, you should have a checklist of things that you've been doing up to that point. And then you should also think, okay, I'm going to get in, get out, and get on with it. It's going to be a short and efficient and effective fat loss phase. I'm going to really put my head down during it and I'm going to do this thing. I'm not kind of like willy nilly, half dieting, half not. That is where all the frustration comes in if you're not really committed to your cut. So use the holidays to your advantage with this. Again, it doesn't mean having cheat days all the time. It doesn't mean eating whatever, whenever, and eating like, a Jack ASS, right? With that being said, if you think that you can stay 90% plus consistent and compliant and you really want to cut, then by all means go for it. Like for an example, I have a client who I just recently had a call with and we were talking about, she's currently working with Coach Christy one-on-one, but we recently talked about her going into a cut during the holidays. And she is going to do that because she knows she can handle it. And this client is like more type A. She is very on top of it. She came into our program like most of our clients, like they're not complete newbies to working out or training or eating clean or anything like that. Like we're just tweaking and dialing things in. And she told me, she was like, yeah, I really, during the holidays, like I don't feel like I'm going to be too tempted with, a bunch of cookies or candies, things like that. She's like, I don't work in an office space. Like, yes, I'll have the one Thanksgiving meal, but that's really it. She was like, otherwise, like, yeah, I don't like, I know I can handle this and I know I can stay 90% plus consistent during the holidays. She was like, there's no reason I can't. And I was like, okay, cool. Then let's do it. Like, why not? So if you're that person it doesn't mean you can't cut during the holidays. Just be honest with yourself. Like, can you actually do it? Like, don't try it if you know, like, I'm probably not going to be the most consistent. Then don't do it. Do the other things we talked about. So that is cutting over the holidays. And then let's also talk about how to feel your best during the holidays and avoid weight gain. Okay. So I'm going to list off just 10 things really quick for you guys to do over the holidays. And this applies whether you are trying to maintain, whether you're trying to lose weight, whether you're in a reverse diet, whether you are in a cut, or what else, or whether you're tracking your food or not. Any of those things, this would apply to you to help you through the holiday season. So, first and foremost, try to exercise 3 to 5 times a week and do what you enjoy or what is most comfortable for you. So, maybe you're traveling, maybe you are with friends or family, things like that. Maybe you can't do your normal routine or your normal workouts. At least exercise in some form or fashion 3 to 5 times a week, and depending on what you were doing before. So whether that's 3 strength training sessions a week, maintaining that, that's great. Or maybe you're playing tennis or you're just going for a run because you don't have access to equipment, whatever that looks like still exercise 3 to 5 times a week. Number two, try to go for more walks in the morning, at lunch, or in the evening, and really try to aim for close to 10,000 steps. This number is variable depending on the person, your goals, your lifestyle, how many steps you're currently getting, things like that. But it's a really good goal and number to shoot for, and really achievable. If you just go for a couple 15 to 30 minute walks throughout the day, you will hit those 10,000 steps. Like, if you just start doing this alone in your life, really aiming for like 3 20 to 30 minute walks a day, it could change your life right there. So really try to aim for a morning, an afternoon, and an evening walk, no matter how long it is. And that's going to help you a ton too. Number three, the days you are going to a party or an event, try to stick with protein and veggies in the meals leading up to it. So don't try to fast. This is one of the biggest pitfalls I see, because then people really go balls to the walls at the event. They maybe overindulge or binge more than they should. They probably didn't get enough protein for the day. And then they suffer the next day as well because of that. So, leading up to the event, just try to eat things that are going to fuel your body and make you feel good. I actually just had a Friendsgiving event last night, and there was so much delicious food. I did have 3 desserts myself, but leading up to the event, I still had my normal breakfast, high protein, complex carbs. I still had a good, healthy lunch that was fueling me. I had a snack before going to the event. Like, I was being very conscientious of what I was eating, but I wanted to set myself up for success at the event as well, to not go into it ravenous, and also to try to get in my protein for the day, knowing that that's oftentimes, the harder thing to get at the event, right? Number four is sleep as much as you can. So if you have time off from work, use that to your advantage and get as much sleep as possible. Try to get 7+ hours. And then also, if you want a nap here or there, whatever, cool, that's great. But do watch out too, to make sure that your nap time, if you're a napper, does not impact your evening sleep. I also find if you have trouble with sleeping at night, then a lot of that falls back on also lower activity too. So you'll notice if you are prioritizing your workouts and your steps, things like that, you're going to sleep much better as well. So really prioritize sleep as much as possible. And then number five is say yes to memories instead of saying no because you are afraid to gain weight. A few days out of the year, you guys, will not make or break your progress. I already talked about this some, but when we're looking at the holidays, oftentimes people are like, oh my gosh, I can't get started on my fitness program because of the holidays. Y'all, in reality, unless if you are just some kind of social butterfly doing things like 6 out of 7 days a week, then it's, for most of us, it might be a couple events over those couple of months, right? Like, stop acting like it's the whole fourth quarter of the year. And if that is the case, if you're like, no, Megan, I really do have that many events and things going on, you might need to learn how to say no to certain things, because that is why you're probably not seeing progress if you treat the whole last quarter of the year like a holiday. Okay. So for those couple of days that you have Thanksgiving, Christmas, Christmas Eve, whatever, say yes to the memories and just enjoy it because it is not going to make a huge dent or impact on your fitness goals. Number six, don't go for more than 2 days without doing some exercise. So this goes back to like point number one or point number two. Um, this is where, yes, okay, maybe you're traveling, or maybe just because of family dynamics, maybe you can't really get out of the house or whatever. Maybe you're snowed in. Really, really, really try to go no more than 2 days without some exercise. Like just kind of put that as like a cap in your mindset. Like, okay, I got to get some exercise. And y'all, you can get creative even in your house. Like you can play hide and go seek with the kids in the house, run around the kitchen table. I do not care. Do body weight squats, some push ups, some lunges, like move your body and just make sure that you're not going more than 2 days without exercise. Number seven, don't be an a hole and eat until you are sick. Okay. I'm really talking to myself here because I come from a binging, restricting past and I am a volume eater and my eyes are always bigger than my stomach. So I'm saying this to myself. Okay. Don't be an a hole and don't eat yourself until you are sick. Enjoy the food and pick out your favorites. Like enjoy it, but don't be a child. Okay. Remind yourself that you will have access to these foods again, right? Like we live like first world problems, all of these foods we could easily go get access to again after the holiday event or whatever, right? Even your grandma's, your favorite pie from your grandma, you could get the recipe from her and make it. Or guess what? You're going to get it again next year, right? Like just remind yourself that you will have access to this food again. So you don't have to cram yourself full of it. I find this really helpful personally because that actually helped me at Friendsgiving last night. There are things that I was like, I just don't need more of that because I'm going to literally have this in a couple weekends at the next family gathering. Right. So, like, just reminding myself, like, I don't need to go hammer time on the cookies because I'll have access to cookies any other time when I want them. Right. So, I'm just going to pick and choose which foods I really love and I'm going to enjoy them without guilt. But I'm not going to eat like an a hole. Right. Number eight is drink lots of water, especially when you have cocktails. So I will say I actually didn't even do well at this last night at Friendsgiving. I didn't even have alcohol. I only had two carbonated waters, but it is not the same as regular water, you guys. I hate to break it to you. I have a headache today because I did not drink enough water last night and I had more sugar than normal, plus just the carbonated waters. And like the bubblies, whatever you want to call them. And I'm kind of paying for it today. So drink lots of water, especially if you have cocktails. One rule of thumb I like to say is for every cocktail, have a glass of water in between. That's really, really helpful. And then number nine is to meal prep for your week and don't eat out during the week. So if you know you have events coming up, then don't make every other day of the week like a Chipotle or a Taco Bell day. Like, really make sure you're still meal prepping through the holidays for the week instead of like letting the holidays get the best of you. Where, of course, we're like, we're trying to buy Christmas gifts, we're trying to pack or not pack, maybe pack for a trip. We're trying to wrap the gifts and all this extra stuff that we're doing and thinking about, right? So then we're like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to grab, pizza real quick for the kids, or I'm just going to whatever. But y'all, it really takes 10 minutes to throw some ground chicken or some ground beef on the stove and cook it up and throw some rice on the stove and cook it up and call that a meal. Like it's really that easy. It doesn't take long. Or you can make the best thing during the holidays, especially if you live in a cold weather place, is bulk prep some soups, throw it in your instant pot or your crock pot for the day, turn it on and call it a day, right? Make you some chili, make you some white chicken chili, whatever. But really try to meal prep for the week so that you're not doing a bunch of eating out and you're saving that eating out days and meals for the event, for the holiday events. And then number 10 is enjoy quality time with family. And try doing things that don't involve food, like family walks or playing games. This is something I've tried to get more into with my family, is like going for walks after our big family meal. There's so much benefit to going for even a 10-minute walk as far as your blood sugar after eating a meal. So like just do fun things. Like be that, maybe your family isn't like that, but you can be the trendsetter, right? Like whether it's a game, maybe it's playing pickleball, maybe it's even just like a board game or something. But enjoy the quality time with family and get creative with how you can move your body, laugh, do things beyond just sitting on the couch and eating food, right? So those are my top 10 tips for going into the holiday season to minimize weight gain and maintain your weight, which again, you guys, is the win. And at the end of the day, enjoy the holidays and prioritize the memories, right? With that being said, you do not have to gain weight or feel like crap through the holidays. That is a bold faced lie. I think that's something a lot of people have accepted as like, oh, yeah, the holidays are here. Oh, darn. No, you do not have to feel like crap during the holidays. I actually find that my clients who start their coaching program with us in November/December, they always have the best success rate. And that's because they are the most compliant and consistent, because they are getting rid of the quote unquote new year mentality, or the quote unquote I'll start Monday mentality. They are getting started during what many people view as one of the hardest times of the year to stay on top of your fitness goals. So if you find that you fall off during the burr months, right? Isn't that what they call it? The burr months, like September, October, November, December, then that may be the exact reason why that's actually the best time for you to get started. Because again, a quarter of the year, you guys, if you're falling off every year like that, that's why you're not able to make forward progress with your goals. So if you want help with that and you want to talk more about one-on-one coaching, if you need the support, the guidelines, the structure, the accountability, then DM me on social media. My social media handles are in the show notes. You can message me on Facebook, Instagram, wherever you prefer. And I'll be doing some early Black Friday discounts and a Black Friday bundle that you'll get access to with coaching. So don't miss out on that. And get the help that you need, whether you are working with a coach or just starting your fitness journey on your own. Do not wait until the new year. Like, get started with it now and get ahead of it, right? Anywho, you guys, that is all I got. I hope that helps. Thank you for the question, Chrissy, and make it an amazing day. And I'll catch you guys on the next episode.